Welcome back. The prospect of the Crows fielding a team in next year's inaugural AFL Women's competition has injected an even greater level of excitement and anticipation into the Adelaide Football Club. A decision on which clubs will kick off the first season is expected in late May, and the Crows are confident they have the infrastructure, funding and the players to secure a licence. Their bid, backed by AFL Northern Territory, is based on developing pathways and opportunities for aspiring footballers and administrators. The club has already held a series of talent trials beginning in February. Former Thunderbirds netball coach Jane Woodlands-Thompson is a member of the club's Women's Football Advisory Committee. She believes many youngsters who may have aspired to play elite national sports like netball and basketball will now look seriously at football.
People have been waiting for this, women and the guys as well, and I think that right from the primary school kids that I see out on the ovals kicking footies around now, the girls, I think there's certainly an appetite for football right from our primary school age kids. It'll be fascinating to see if athletes are able to combine football with their other sport, but you know, it's off to such a flying start with the infrastructure and governance and everything that's already in place with the men's football program that it's certainly going to be really attractive to those athletes who are capable.
Welcome down for our second iteration of the All Stars program, and hopefully going forward some really exciting opportunity for women's footy in this state. To open up the scope for opportunity for women in our game is one of the fundamental platforms of the Adelaide Footy Club.
So I've got a netball background and was lucky enough to represent Australia at a junior level and also SA and NT for 8 years. And it was actually through the girls that I played netball with that they convinced me to go out and have a kick, and it's been the best thing I've ever done personally.
As sportswomen, we grow up with the same dreams as boys do, and to think that we could be playing on the national stage under an AFL sanctioned competition, it's really exciting.
I was out at the first talent trial, and the talent on display was really impressive, and the way that the meeting was managed and the training, it's really professional. Any woman that wants to be involved with the club in terms of a playing or an administration role can be really confident that the Crows have thought this out really well and are mapping it to some really good ideals.
Most supporters would rank the '98 Grand Final as the greatest win in the Crows' 25-year history. After finishing 5th at the end of the home and away season, they took on minor premiers North Melbourne and found themselves 4 goals down at half-time. But Adelaide stormed home to become the only club in modern times to win the flag from lower than 4th position. For the Roos, the loss was devastating.
Gets away from the pack. Scott 45 metres out, blanketed off the boot. It bounces down towards full forward. Still Carey over the ball. Looks over the shoulder, pulls it back, but he's wide of the mark behind.
We sort of kicked ourselves out of it. Great first half, other than bad kicking, and you naturally, when you go in as favourite, you're, I guess the expectation, which was all sort of going to plan, as I said, up until half time. I think I remember specifically Dennis being, quite hard on us at half time. So he knew that we'd missed some opportunities and we could have been a lot further in front. Game could have nearly been over at half time, but to Adelaide's credit, they threw their team around and a couple of their superstars stood up, and it was a great win by them. You can't take anything away from their win. They were better on the day.
Kicks inside the 50, Jarman inspired. He was never going to miss that. Look at determination on his face, isn't it?
We were the favourites during '97, had a lot of injuries, and I watched Darren Jarman turn it on against St Kilda, and unfortunately for us in '98 he did the same thing. He was just brilliant in that second half, and tore the game apart, and I guess that's why I rate Darren Jarman one of the best, because he had that ability to win matches in a small amount of time.
Clever handle to Johnson. Johnson trying to break it. McLeod, brilliantly done. Back to Johnson. Johnson goes, and he's kept it. They're back. They're back.
That game stays with me longer than any other game that I ever played in. I think about that game more than any other game. It's a grand final that got away. So unfortunately, failure stays with you a lot longer than success, and it still bobs up every now and then, including now. Thank you. But I was lucky enough to play a couple of years at Adelaide, and sort of worked out well because, let's be honest, I helped them get a flag in '98.
AFL players scatter far and wide when they take a break from football. Bali, Vietnam, Japan, the States. They're just some of the places where the Crows relaxed after last season. As we'll find out during the year, thanks to Flight Centre, all players have their favourite destinations. For Rory Sloane, there's usually a tropical flavour.
We've got two favourite all-time holiday destinations that I've been to so far. So something that was a bit different was we went to Tau Game Lodge, which is one Rob Gerard owns, and that's in South Africa. So up near Botswana, the border of Botswana and South Africa, and that was the most unique holiday I've ever been on. We just were on safari tours all day, twice a day. It was hot, we saw every single animal you could possibly think of. So it was something really unique. But when I go on a holiday, I do love to get warm and be by the ocean, and that was not there. So my other favourite holiday destination would have to be Tahiti, which I went to in 2015 with Belinda. Had the most amazing surf I've ever had on a trip away. And just the water, just so many things to do. The mountains there, we could four-wheel drive up the mountains, quad bike up there. So many water sports to do as well, so it kept me active.
Well, after the pleasure, there's always the pain. That's next. Plus, we'll catch up with Pods and hear how he's taken to the coaching caper.